to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network, and this evening we are speaking with a gentleman who definitely understands union tactics. He has single-handedly stood up and saved his company from the wretched hands of the SEIU. Dave Bego is the CEO of EMS and the author of The Devil at Our Doorstep and The Devil at My Doorstep. Welcome back to the program, Dave.
Well, thanks for having me back, Larry. I hope you're doing well.
Well, I'm looking forward to a Christmas break.
I think probably all of us are right now.
Tell me something. Were you surprised to see union members throwing blows with protesters from the right-to-work segment of our population in Lansing?
No, not at all, Larry, because what the big labor bosses do, and people got to understand something. Number one, if you watch the film of all that, the crowd really wasn't all that big. What the labor bosses do, they know the people that they can manipulate and the people that are more radical and fly off the handle and stuff like that, and they're the ones they manipulate and get them down there so that they do things like this. And it's all in an effort to intimidate the legislature there and the governor and other people and the media, quite honestly, that we're in charge here. You better leave us alone or we're going to come get you. And it's a really sad state of affairs, and we cannot have civility in this country.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a minute. Does the conservative movement do itself any favors when, and this has been one of the allegations that have been made since Tuesday's melee, and that is that you get people who align with groups like Americans for Prosperity or Freedom Works or whatever group it is on the conservative side, and they'll go out, they'll get in people's faces with cameras. It's almost like when we see these video clips, it's almost like we're missing the first 5 or 10 minutes of what transpired beforehand. And that's some of the criticism that I know Steven Crowder got last night. And I'm just wondering, are we doing ourselves a benefit by engaging in these verbal confrontations that eventually turn into physical ones? Or should we just simply let things happen and videotape it as it happens and bring it to the viewers from that angle?
Well, I think you're making a good point. And personally, I think that people like Steve Crowder and Americans for Prosperity would have done themselves a much better favor by just staying away from it all, not being involved, not having anybody down there, and just let the unions make fools of themselves. And, when we fought the SEIU, that's what we did. We never went down. And we had rallies in Indianapolis, quite honestly, on the circle in Indianapolis. I don't know if you've ever been there, but we have a monument circle. They closed off a big portion of the circle when they did rallies against my company. And we didn't do anything. We did not go down and confront them. We didn't try to do anything to antagonize them. We had people there, but we just listened to them because we wanted to know what they had to say so that we could, counter it and say, no, this is wrong. What they're saying is misinformation and propaganda, and here's the truth. I think when you engage people and you confront them like that, you're asking for trouble.
And that's something that's bothered me for quite some time with some of these groups because, look, it's one thing if you oppose a point of view. I think it's something completely different. I think it makes you look less than honest when you use other people's money and you post on Twitter that you need frequent flyer miles so that you can be in Lansing, Michigan, so that you can cover the union thug tactics. It's almost like people have built this up. I mean, they went in there even before getting into Lansing, talking about how they were going to get all of these incidences on camera. And then when you see people going at each other verbally and, look, I'm not defending the unions, but if you get in someone's face, whether it's a union member or whether it's a Freedom Works or a Tea Party protester, the bottom line is when you walk up on somebody, you tend to push a situation that probably shouldn't have been pushed.
No, you're absolutely right. You antagonize it, and you make the situation worse. And I know the people from AFB and some of the other organizations, and I don't understand why they do these things. I'm one of those that believe that you get your message across, and you do it in a professional way, and you don't do it by antagonizing the opponents. And some people just don't agree with that way of doing things. But that's how I like to do it.
You know, what I'm finding even more interesting, look, we just lost an election. The Republican Party is at a state right now to where they will be lucky to get themselves back up and standing, in time for 2014. And everybody is predicting that 2014 and 2016 is going to be even bigger landslides. And I think we've done ourselves a disservice because we've got people who claim to represent conservative free market values only to go out and attack someone because they don't particularly care for that one candidate. And then all of a sudden it's everybody else's fault that we lose. And like I said, I kind of like Steve Crowder, especially his comedic talents. What I don't like and what I'm seeing happen all this week is people are antagonizing a situation because they want to get certain types of events on video, and then they want to go on television and they want to say, see, this is what we were telling you. This is what we've been telling you, but you don't listen to us. Now you can look at it. And I think it hurts the conservative cause when you do that, because when people sit back in their homes and watch these transactions, the first thing they go is, okay, what transpired up to that point where you got swung on? I mean, how is this guy ending up on the ground? And rather than answer the questions, everybody goes, oh, well, there's so many people there. Nobody could. That's BS. When you walk into the middle of a crowd and you put yourself in the position to where you're going to either be pushed or get put, or push, then to me, I don't think you're being honest with your viewers and your readers.
Well, I think you've got a good point there. I mean, just the fact that you're there is going to stir them up enough to begin with. And then to walk up to them and push them a little bit, that causes more problems. Now, I understand they're trying to get a news story and they're trying to find out, but, in situations like that, when you have people that are put there because they are people that will react defiantly, there's no reason to push the story. I mean, news media seems anymore it has to be dramatic or it's not a news story, and I don't understand that. I'm a type person. I would rather have a news story that really tells me the facts and that they've done some research on what they're doing, and it makes sense. And it just doesn't seem like the media doesn't want to do that anymore. And again, I'll go back to what I said earlier. When we fought the SEIU, we had a lot of these type of things, and we refused to go out and incite people. What we did is we did our research, and then when we responded to things, we did it in a professional manner, and we did it through channels that would not, cause people to punch other people in the street. I mean, the way it was.
I don't know if you ever met Andrew Breitbart, but I will tell you something. In the last 48 hours, I have heard so many people mention Andrew Breitbart's name in justifying what they did or did not do in Lansing, Michigan, and I don't understand it. I mean, these very same people have thrown Andrew Breitbart's name out more since he's died on March 1st of this year than they ever did when he was alive. It's like all of a sudden they want to benefit from his legacy, but yet when he was still alive and was being accused of all kinds of things, of editing videos and knowingly putting out edited videos to make people appear to be something that they weren't, You know, none of these people were standing by him then. None of these people were on Fox News screaming, it's all because Andrew Breitbart that we get to do this. And I just think that it hurts the conservative cause, because the people you need to convince are people who sit down and look at things in a rational manner. They want facts. They don't want all of this emotion. And when you see these videotapes from the likes of Lee Stranahan and Steve Crowder and others, I think it just sets conservative principles back even further. Hang tight, Dave. We're coming up on commercial. You're listening to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rinse Radio Network. We are speaking with Dave Bego. He stood up to SEIU and never had to throw a single punch. Are we losing the battle because we're so interested in provoking situations for media shock purposes? We'll ask Dave when we come back.
Scientists in England have succeeded in stabilizing the time-honored substance in garlic that destroys harmful bacteria, viruses, molds, yeast, and fungus. This all-natural microbe killer is called Allicin C, and it's now available to you in 100% vegetarian capsules only on the New Earth page at Rense.com. This powerful broad-spectrum antimicrobial agent is harmless to friendly bacteria and has been concentrated to equal an astonishing 35 cloves of garlic in each vegetarian capsule. Think about it. The antibacterial, antiviral strength of 35 odorless cloves of garlic in just one capsule. Allicin C is so effective it even destroys superbug MRSA in test after test. Allicin C is truly an incredible advance in natural medicine, and with the threats of bacterial and viral diseases and pandemics growing, no home should be without it. Learn more and order Allicin C on the New Earth page at Rense.com.
Remember this name, Carnivora. That's CARNIVORA.com. What if I told you that this 100% pure and natural product was delivered directly to the White House at President Reagan's personal request at a time when only the president was able to obtain it? Reagan used this amazing product, Carnivora, successfully, a product derived only from nature that has the intelligence to instinctively attack abnormal cells only without harming a single normal cell, and the power to actually wake up critical immune cells from dormancy to attack foreign invaders that don't belong in our bodies. Carnivora is now obtainable by anyone who wants to get healthy and stay that way. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY and protect yourself with 17 naturally occurring compounds that will unleash powerful immune defense. That's 1-866-VENUS-FLY. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY and get your Carnivora today. Visit carnivora.com.
Known worldwide as the most consistently fascinating, informative, and unique program on radio, the Jeff Rense program can be yours to listen to anytime, anywhere, whenever you want to hear it. For pennies a day, our subscribers can download any of Jeff's thousands of programs featuring a treasury of newsmakers, researchers, eyewitnesses, and incredible subjects, all in MP3 commercial-free, crystal-clear 56-bit digital sound, and take these often unforgettable programs with them wherever they go. As a subscriber, you can also listen live at airtime, online, anywhere in the world, or browse through our archives of over 10,000 hours of legendary broadcasts. Subscribe now by taking the link at the top of Rense.com and enrich your mind with the most unique panorama of vital information and the best independent, honest journalism in radio. Look for the Subscribe Now link on Rense.com and give yourself the knowledge you need for these unprecedented times.
Program, everyone. Do you want to know how to stand up and how to deal with union Thug Tactics. If you do, there's 2 books I think you should read. Both of them are written by our guest this hour, The Devil at Our Doorstep and The Devil at My Doorstep. Go to Devil at My Doorstep, or is it thedevilatmydoorstep.com?
Well, that's for the first book. The second one is thedevilatourdoorstep.com.
Okay. And I'm actually holding the second one in my hand, which I still have not finished reading, and I apologize for that. And then, of course, I'm actually going to order the first one. I want the whole collection. Dave, where do we go from here? Are we going... Somebody's predicting that union violence is going to get even worse in this country. And if that's true, are we doing ourselves any favors by going out and trying to even antagonize it and antagonize individuals in the way that I think we just did in Lansing?
Well, you know, I don't think the big labor bosses are stupid enough. That may not be a good phrase, but to go out and do violence, because you know that's going to get played in some way across the airwaves. But I think that their real intent on this is it's psychological intimidation. They wanted you to see that so that people say, okay, well, you know, that got pretty nasty, so maybe we better not push them anymore. We don't want right to work in other states, and maybe we need to look at repealing what we did here in Michigan. But to the other side of your question is I don't understand why the media wants to antagonize them just to get a news story. To me, we've lost good old-fashioned journalism where people go out and they really research what's going on so they could, you know, report the truth, the facts, instead of just what some guy's saying at the spur of a moment. And in this case, there's something that I think your listeners need to know that a lot of people don't know because the media doesn't know it because they haven't done the research and they're not reporting it. Do you know why right to work was really passed and actually brought up in the first place? The grassroots movement was by union members themselves. There's a group in Michigan called the Union Conservatives, and I talk a little bit about it in my second book. Unfortunately, they got a hold of me right before they started pushing this and right before my book was published. So I only got about a page and a half dedicated to them in my new book. But they were tired of the big labor bosses pushing around, telling what they have to do. They're tired of the big labor bosses using their money for elected officials that they don't agree with. And they're the ones that really got all this going. They're the ones who went to the legislator and said, look, we need your help. We need right to work in Michigan. Have you heard that across the airwaves at all?
Not at all. Not at all.
And this is what's going. And this is the truth. I know. I spoke on the steps of the Lansing Capitol back in late May or early June with them. They asked me to come up there, and I spoke with them on the Capitol steps about right to work. And even the news up there wouldn't carry it. You know, it was kind of hushed up. And these people have just been persistent, and they've done it quietly behind the scenes. They haven't made any waves. They haven't antagonized anybody. And you know something, Larry? They got the job done.
And you know what, Dave? It seems to me that maybe if Breitbart, maybe if Michelle Malkin, maybe if Steve Crowder, maybe even if Fox at this point, and I am pointing these individuals out because these are the ones that have been played over the airways for the last 48 hours, you know, pushing this, oh, this is what happens, you need to, you know, people just simply start swinging on you. I had an experience in October of 2008 where I attended a rally in Cleveland, Ohio. That was being hosted by Bill Clinton on behalf of the Obama campaign. And I decided to go. I was in the area, you know, to ask people why it was that nobody wanted to talk about Barack Obama. And I got elbowed. I got stomped. My feet got stomped on because I was wearing sandals. You know, the media behind me up on the riser, saw all of it but didn't bother to air it or do anything, and that's fine. But what I think people need to understand is if we can't be honest with the people we're trying to convince, then it eventually blows back up in our faces. And I don't understand why a group like Americans for Prosperity wouldn't simply work with this union conservative group, you know, and they say that it's about working within the system and doing it through legislation. It's about doing what the people want. Why not work with this group and help them as opposed to turning this into a chaotic circle?
Well, to answer your question, actually, they did help them behind the scenes early on. But I think where they go astray and some of these other groups go astray, you know, they're groups that are trying to raise money to further their cause. So they look at it that if they get airtime, then, you know, they'll get people to go to their website and they can raise more money. And I just think, you know, that you're better off when you keep a low profile and you go out and talk to people about your message and you tell them how you helped this group win the day instead of go out and trying to get the airtime.
You know, I think you hit dead on the nail right there. And unfortunately, I think everything on both sides of the aisle and even in the middle, the bottom line is everything is coming down to the almighty dollar. It just seems to go against everything that the Tea Party actually came to be. You know, everybody was like, we need to get the money out of this, and it seems like money still plays a very important role. Hang tight, Dave. You're listening to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network. We're speaking with Dave Bego. We will be right back.
The stars were by my side. I heard Lady Liberty lost her crown as I was searching for my country at the lost and found. Fell in love at first sight, messing around. He had the cutest little nose against the window at the door he found. I'm American made.
Charlie McGrath of Wide Awake News here with an important message from Chris, Phil, Russ, Tyler, and the rest of the folks at BuyEmergencyFoods.com. Do not wait until it's too late to be prepared for disaster. The world's a crazy place. Ever-present threat of man-made political and economic crisis makes it important to be prepared. But when you factor in natural disasters, it goes from being important to being mandatory. 7.7 earthquake in Canada, 6.5 earthquake in Central America, and over 50 million Americans affected by Hurricane Sandy, all in the span of just a few days. Make Legacy Premium freeze-dried storable food part of your preparedness plan today. Legacy Premium tastes great, has a 25-year shelf life, and is the only certified non-GMO freeze-dried storable food in the business. I recommend the 360-serving package. That's 120 days worth of life-sustaining calories for about $1.25 a serving. Please call them at 888-543-7345. Again, 888-543-7345, or better yet, visit them online at BuyEmergencyFoods.com.
American Masters Painting, a family-owned and operated business beautifying homes in Northern Virginia for over 30 years. American Masters craftsmen serve all of your painting, staining, and wood refinishing needs. American Masters not only guarantees to deliver satisfying results, they also promise a positive, rewarding, and personalized experience to your complete satisfaction. American Masters Painting is recognized for its flawless expertise in all custom interior and exterior projects. For a free and timely estimate, contact American Masters Painting toll-free at 888-760-7760 or visit AmericanMastersPainting.com. And remember, when you're thinking American Masters Painting, you're thinking one family serving another, one project at a time. American Masters Painting is a proud sponsor of Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network.
You're listening to the Rense Radio Network, coast to coast on the Galaxy 19 KU band satellite, nationwide and worldwide on the internet, and of course, on Rense.com.
Are chemtrail geoengineering programs changing our weather and destroying our environment? Why in the world are they spraying?
They want to create a storm in the southeast, then they'll start engineering out over the North Pacific. That's where the trade-ins will be.
Find out why critics are calling Why in the World Are They Spraying the most important film that is revolutionizing the environmental movement.
It's just going to get worse until the point where we're not going to be able to grow anything at all unless it's a Monsanto genetically modified, abiotic stress resistant seed.
Why in the world are they spraying? New international version with languages available from around the world. For 1 month, Rinse listeners receive free shipping. Go to the banner on the front of the Rinse website and click on the link for more info.
It's all about money, and weather is another form of commoditizing, a way the Central Command Group can commoditize another form of our life.
Why in the world are they spraying?
And if you control the weather, you're going to control the planet. It's that simple.
Will 2012 bring the Mayan end of world or the global banking collapse? In 2007, one man, Mike Dillard, made 5 predictions which forecasted the 2008 economic crisis and the pending Eurozone collapse. This week, Mike unleashes 3 brand new, shocking, must-watch videos with predictions for the coming year. www.the3videos.com. Over the past year, Mike Dillard has helped thousands of ordinary people create and recover wealth by tapping into the black box investing strategies the big banks don't want you to know about. www.the3videos.com. As the European banking system implodes and governments collapse at breakneck speeds, the next 12 months will be the most anticipated and important months in modern human history. This will make 2008 look like a walk in the park. Everyone will be affected. Go to www.the3videos.com now. Learn how to prepare your family and prosper during the global financial collapse.
You're my soldier boy, a man amongst men. You're my soldier boy, a man amongst men. You're my soldier boy, a man
and welcome back, everybody. You are listening to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rinse Radio Network. We are speaking with Dave Bego, author of The Devil at Our Doorstep, which is book number 2, and The Devil at My Doorstep, which is book number 1. And Dave, Michigan's passed right-to-work legislation. The governor signed it. Who's next if we have another one? And where do you see yourself and your company in the current economic times, and how is this so-called fiscal cliff affecting you doing business? That was a mouthful, wasn't it?
Yeah, but interesting questions. As far as right to work, New Hampshire was working on it, but with the last election, it's going to change the political landscape, so I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But, there's other states, that are looking at it, and I don't know that we can really say right now, but hopefully that we'll see a few of them pop up, and we'll keep this movement going, because I really believe, Larry, that it's a movement that employees and union members are tired of, the union bosses, and they want to have the freedom to do what they want, and their monies go to where they want it to go. So, let's hope it keeps moving forward. As far as business, I have to tell you, I'm very concerned. There's a lot of things going on. The fiscal cliff is kind of a misnomer. It's being played up by the administration and the press. I mean, the world's not going to come to the end January 1st if nothing's done. But what really concerns me is 2 things. Number one is, as I talk to customers across the country and other business people across the country, they're already making plans, as are we, that our taxes are going to go up. So to pay those additional taxes, we're going to have to reduce cost. And, our biggest expense, like most people, is labor. So that's where you look to reduce costs. So I see unemployment going up, and that's not a good thing, because when unemployment goes up, the economy stalls. The other thing is with Obamacare, that we see a lot of people, not just in our industry, but in major corporations that we service across the country, that they're looking at going to part-time people, less than 30 hours a week, so that they don't have to pay for health care and Obamacare. And if we do that, then we're going to have, in addition to massive unemployment, massive underemployment, and we could be headed for a recession, and I'm concerned.
It's interesting because I agree with you. I think this so-called fiscal cliff is pure political theater. I don't think it's just the administration that's playing it up. I think certain Republicans are doing the same thing. One of the questions I asked over the election cycle was, if Mitt Romney was to win and the Senate stayed in Democratic hands, how are we going to get anything done? Look, we're at the same spot today that we were before the 2012 election season even got started. We have the same players. I think Juan Williams was the one that said it best, that you have the exact same people sitting in the same chairs saying the same thing that has been said for the last 4 years when we start talking about the debt limit and cutting spending and taxes. Do you agree? Is this all political theater right now? Are people just simply trying to score political points, or are they really serious about doing something?
Well, I'm sure there's some of them out there that are really serious about doing something, but most of it is political theater, and
as a businessman,
go ahead. Yeah, this gets a whole deeper subject, because I'm a firm believer that we need term limits. We need to get the money out of the political system, and we need the people to go to Washington because they want to go to Washington to take care of the American people. That's not what we have today.
See, and that's what I was saying before we went to the last commercial break about the Tea Party. People who identify with Tea Party principles are kind of frustrated because all of these grassroots efforts in organizing these different Tea Party groups, it seems that most of them now have been, infiltrated by Washington Beltway insiders that are lifetime, political consultants or strategists. I noticed that Breitbart has an article up about Todd Ciaffaretti, who is associated with the West Orlando Tea Party here in Florida, that is a lifelong political consultant out of the D.C. Beltway that actually sells retirement plans to elderly. And he's talking about a new wave of Tea Party, but people are frustrated because they don't see it. It's become about the money.
Well, it is. And again, back to what I said, this is about term limits. And I wrote a blog about, Larry, maybe a year ago, about my thoughts on where we need to go to turn this economy around and get America back to where it needs to be. And, some of the things I talked about were, one, we have to have a balanced budget because none of us, we as a company, we can't continue going on and increasing debt and that, because if we do, we're going to be out of business. We have to balance the budget. We need to have term limits. We need to do something about the immigration situation, and I kind of went in detail what I thought should be done on that. We need to get the money out of politics, and those are the type of things that we really have to come to grip with as a country, or we may end up like Greece or Rome. They only lasted a couple hundred years, and we're in our 236th year, and we're getting close to where they were.
I'm going to touch on two things from what you just said. First, as a company, as an employer, you can better explain this than I can. A lot of these so-called tax increases on the middle class aren't really tax increases at all when you consider that most of these payroll taxes are taxes that people should be collecting as far as Medicare, Social Security, FICA taxes. because that's what actually supports those programs, and those are taxes that the Obama administration has given a holiday to. Hang tight. When we come back, I'm going to ask you to speak on that, and then I'm going to talk about the immigration issue as it affects your very industry. And that one I have some personal experience with. You're listening to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rinse Radio Network. We're speaking with Dave Bego, author of The Devil at Our Doorstep. You can get it at thedevil@ourdoorstep.com. We'll be right back.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Heart and Body Extract has a 23-year proven track record of using certified organic herbs that make up an excellent formula to balance and support the heart and circulatory system. In as little as 2 weeks, you can feel amazing results when your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com, spelled BIOAGE.com, BioAge.com, or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge, the age of advanced organics.
Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rinse Radio Network. We are speaking with businessman and author Dave Bego. Dave, before we went to commercial, I brought up, is it not the case, and if I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me, is it not the case that the so-called tax increase on the middle class that Obama is saying will take effect on January 1st is simply the payroll taxes that the Obama administration decided they wanted to forego collecting as to Medicare and FICA payroll taxes?
Well, some of it maybe, but some of it is it's in other areas too. But it kind of gets confused and blurred, Larry, because the truth of the matter is, in the federal budget anymore, you know, the taxes they collect for FICA are used for other purposes. So, you know, even though they say that, you know, Medicare and Social Security, they're fine, the truth is, because they're using those monies in other areas, and what they've done is they put everything in one big pot, and they're using it as they see fit. It's really destroyed the system that was, you know, the way it was supposed to be.
Right.
And that's the real problem. And what they need to go back to is, okay, if you're collecting monies for FICA, okay, then that's what it needs to go to. It doesn't go to entitlement programs or welfare or helping other countries or whatever it is. It goes to that. And they've got away from that. As business people, we can't do that. We have monies that are dedicated to certain areas. That's what we got to do, or we don't survive.
Exactly. Well, look, the immigration issue that we touched on before the last commercial, you are in the janitorial service business, and I have an experience in Northern California, 2001. A friend of mine worked for an individual that basically started a contracting cleaning service. Mm-hmm. This individual hired illegal aliens to work 7 nights a week, cleaning the Kmart, the Walmart, the Target stores throughout the Sacramento, San Francisco, Stockton area. Mm-hmm. They won the contracts because they could afford, to bid lower because they paid lower wages. They didn't collect any taxes on the individuals. I would be willing to bet you I could go to Sacramento today and the San Jose, San Francisco area today and find at least 15 other operations that are ran the exact same way. Now, that has to affect legitimate businesses like yours.
Larry, I'm glad you brought that up because this is one thing I've railed against, and I told you a few minutes ago I had a blog about restoring. It's actually called Restoring America's Prosperity that I did back quite a while ago. And one of them, and I've written other blogs on it, is misclassification of workers and the illegal immigration system. And these go hand in hand, and people don't understand it because the government doesn't want us to understand it. And the first part of it is that, we do have a lot of illegal immigrants in this country that we allow to come in here through our own fault. But the other side of it, as you just alluded to, there's employers out there that, and shame on them, that take advantage of these people because they hire them. And what they do is they pay them a flat rate per week to do the cleaning jobs. And quite honestly, in many cases, they don't even make minimum wage doing that, and there's no overtime pay. There's no taxes taken out, so the government is losing out on revenues, both for, local sales or income tax, for FICA, FUTA, SUTA, all those type of things. And you know something, Larry? None of the governments enforce these things. And I'll give you a perfect example of how this hurts a legitimate company like ours that tries to do things the right way. In Phoenix, Arizona, we had a large account that the customer loved us, but one of the national companies, and I'm not going to name names, came in and they underbid us by about 20%. And by the way, that's about the percent that they realize when they hire people as independent contractors, illegals by independent contractors, and have to pay FICA, FUTA, SUTA, all those type of things. And what this company did, it's a publicly traded company, what they did is they went out and they subcontracted to a guy that does exactly what you just talked about. Well, so you have all these illegals in there, and they're getting paid under the table, and no taxes taken out. And you know who that really hurts? Not just companies like mine, but it hurts the American worker because it artificially lowers wages across the country.
Well, see, like I said, the reason I can speak on this is after I had my accident in 2000 and 2001, I spent some time mediating labor disputes in the Sacramento area with the California Labor Commission. And I mediated quite a few disputes with construction contractors, drywall, painters, believe it or not, trash removal services that did these exact things. And not only did they hire workers, but It's like people don't understand. People say, well, you're racist because you don't want Mexicans. No. What people need to understand is the majority of those companies and employers that actually take advantage of and exploit illegal labor are actually Mexican citizens in this country that even go so far as to pay to bring them in illegally and then work them and swear up and down that it cost them $10,000 or $15,000 to get them in and take it out of their pay. So I think when people start talking about immigration, they really do need to talk about the issues that are there, that people know are there. You know, California knows that this happens. The Labor Commission has repeatedly told individuals that, you know, unfortunately, we're not here to enforce immigration laws. We're here to enforce labor laws. And the bottom line is if companies exploit you, use you, don't pay you, you know, they have a claim. And like I said, I've seen this. I could run off a list of companies just in the San Francisco, San Jose, Sacramento, Stockton area that would blow your mind, and I would be willing to bet you that they still do it to this day. And that's what people need to understand. That's why when the building boom was taking place in the early 2000s in the Stockton, Sacramento area, because housing costs in San Francisco went through the roof, I'm telling you, you could go on any new home construction site in that area, and every worker that you came across, if you talked to them, you would find out, one, they were here illegally, two, they would work anywhere from 80 to 90 hours a week and be paid for 20.
Yep. Larry,
and if
you're exactly right, and you're preaching to the choir with me, but because we know it and we see it, and it drives us crazy because, you know, again, we try to do things the right way. I mean, we're not perfect. We make mistakes, but we try to do things the way they are. And what really irritates me about all this, we're trying to take care of our people and pay them, the best we can pay them and give them benefits and all that kind of stuff. And then you have people out there doing this kind of stuff that makes it impossible for the honest employers to do the business and keep business. And our government is so tied up in passing new laws all the time that they won't even, enforce the ones that we have.
Yeah, like I said, I kind of got carried away on that issue because I've been there. I even had a company out of the Phoenix area that was, had contracts in the Sacramento area that, it's one thing if you want to do business and you want to be upfront about what you're doing. It's a whole different story when you have businesses that, stand up and preach off of a soapbox only to engage in the exact same practices that they're preaching against. And I think that as a country, we really do need to look at exactly what's going on and stop concentrating on these ICE raids at Montford meatpacking plants in Nebraska and Colorado. Because if people think that that's the biggest extent of illegal exploitation of illegal immigrants in the workforce, then people really do have their heads buried in the sand.
Well, you're right. They do, and I'm with you on that, because that's, even though I wrote my book on the union issue, I've been very outspoken on the immigration issue too. And in fact, I gave a talk here in Indianapolis a few years ago. Well, actually, when we were being attacked by the SEIU, I was at a IFMA conference, which is the International Facility Managers Association, and I was talking about this very issue. And I had charts up showing them how these people, business people, got away with this stuff, and how they were taking advantage of employees and the government and everything. And unfortunately, the SEIU barged into the room and interrupted in that. We had to get them out before we finished. But, quite honestly, this is as big an issue for me as the union issue, because in both cases we have people that want to abuse our laws and really don't want to take care of the employees. They're in it for themselves.
Well, I don't know. I would have to go back and dig it up, but I will tell you this. I know for a fact that in the early 2000s, Walmart actually settled and paid fines for using these independent contract companies in Northern California and actually across the country that was knowingly using illegal labor to clean their stores. So, this isn't something that's just flying off the top of my head. I mean, this is based in fact. And like I said, I guarantee you I could walk into Sacramento today, and I bet you I could walk into 10 different companies that I know by name that continue the very practices today that they were engaged in 2000, 2001.
Well, I'm sure you could. You know what really bothers me about that is that our industry magazine, it's called Services Magazine, is located in Sacramento, and I can't get them to take up my cause on this union issue or the immigration issue because they're liberal enough they don't want to expose it.
Exactly. Dave, I wanted to say thank you for joining us again. If I don't talk to you beforehand, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, you too, and keep up the good work, Larry, because we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a good evening. And that brings us to the end of yet another Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network. I will be back tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I do hope you join me. Tomorrow I have an announcement that might shock some and anger others. Who knows? Good night.
Surfing through the channel, political pundits, all I see propaganda or integrity. Who's gonna win this? Come on, brace your rhythm or Ben home miss. It was a left, took integrity, got hit in the jaw from the shot. Heard around the world he never saw. Coming from a shout. Looks like I picked another bloody loser. Betting all the media will do that to ya.
Are you a contender?
Hell yeah.
Or just a pretender? You gotta be the man.
That's right.
Stand up and defend us.
Oxygen. It's nature's oldest therapy and plays an essential role in destroying viruses, bacteria, mold, yeast, and fungus, and keeping the human body healthy and strong. Now, you can give your body and your immune system a mega boost of disease-fighting oxygen with all-natural Oxy-C. With so many people now leading a sedentary indoor lifestyle, most are in a chronic state of oxygen deprivation, which sets up a perfect environment for disease, general fatigue, and a host of other symptoms. Oxy-C is yours in simple, convenient capsules. Nothing to mix, nothing to hassle with. Take it with juice or water anytime. Feel a cold or flu approaching? Have no energy or spark anymore? Try all-natural Oxy-C and prepare to be amazed. Oxy-C is only available from New Earth Health Solutions at Rense.com. Look for the New Earth banner at Rense.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Rentz. Royal Raymond Rife was without question the most gifted medical scientific genius of our age. He discovered that most disease-related microbes die quickly when exposed to their own specialized resonant radio frequencies. The BCX 411 Rife-type frequency instrument has received the highest praise on several continents for its precision, simplicity of operation, and successful research experiment. The BCX, with its comprehensive manual, allows you to select the frequencies you wish to experiment with for the length of time you want to run them. The BCX handheld plasma ray tubes and RF radio carrier